Yes, indeed. It is called Lothric, where the transitory lands of the Lords of Cinder converge. In venturing north, the pilgrims discover the truth of the old words. The fire fades, and the lords go without thrones. When the link of fire is threatened, the bell tolls, unearthing the old lords of Cinder from their graves. Aldrich, saint of the deep, Farron's undead legion, the Abyss Watchers. And the reclusive lord of the profaned capital. Yom the Giant. Only in truth, the lords will abandon their thrones. And the unkindled will rise. Nameless, accursed undead, unfit even to be cinder. And so it is that ash seeketh embers.
Alright, I'm Mad Cat, and this is Dark Souls 3. Just making a character. Now, unlike in the first game, all of these are kind of useful, none of them are critical. So we're going to go with the fire bombs, because that'll make the first boss easier. Hilariously enough, there's no gender flipping on stuff like body hair. You can also give ladies beards if you want to. They have not gender locked any of the any of the character creation options. So, this is our character. She's a herald. She's got a healing miracle, a spear, and a reasonable investment in faith. So we're going to go sort of depth faith for this build. This is not my first go through the game. This is my second. This is technically my second or third. I've got one run that's ongoing that I'm streaming. This is going to be my Let's Play run. And my goal here is to try and do a bunch of NPC quests, because I missed them all, almost all, in the first playthrough of the game, because they are utterly obtuse, even compared to the previous games. This is a spoiler okay Let's Play, just as a heads up, so I'll try not to talk too much about them in the videos. They're more than welcome in the comments in the chat about it, so just a heads up if you're watching this without wanting to be spoiled on the game. But, anything really obvious, like, Dumbledore is the final boss, I'll probably be deleting. I think that's us getting out of a coffin. Right, so here's our starting place, Cemetery of Ash. There's the coffin that we climbed out of. If you read some of the descriptions of the gifts and burial gifts specifically, it looks like our character was at some point died and buried. They're not just an undead, there's something called an unkindled, which I have theories about that I'll go into in a bit. Probably after we've killed the first Firelords of Cinder. So, Dark Souls, standard moveset. Light attack, heavy attack. This one is new. It's a charge attack, which is done by pressing and holding the right trigger. You've got block. With this shield, you have parry. If your shield has a weapon icon in the bottom left, it means it'll do your weapon art when you hit the left trigger. And some other shields, great shields, that you do a shield bash move. And talk about weapon arts. There's now an option for melee characters to have special moves to do with their weapons. This one is the shield splitter, which breaks guards. So to access these, you either two-hand your weapon and then do left trigger, or if you've got the right sort of shield, i.e. one with a weapon thing, you just hit the left trigger and you do it. You'll notice stats-wise we have our health bar, the red one. We now have a blue bar, which is our focus points bar, which is used both for spells, which we've got a little tiny heal spell, and for our weapon arts. And obviously green is stamina. Other moves, roll attack, run attack, jump attack. Jumping you can either have it set to trigger on double tapping your run key or on left click, on tapping the right click or the left click. On tapping the left click button. I prefer the double tapping the run key for reasons. Other people prefer the slightly easier precision of doing the left click, but it never feels right with me. We have a little spell, which is a minor heal. And I think that's it for now. So the starter area is the usual thing. You've got the messages telling you the controls. You've got the relatively weak enemies with a slightly erratic attack pattern. And what you can see there was one of the problems with the game, or things that people are perceiving as a problem with the game, which is that you'd think with this armour I'd be able to take at least one hit. Now, staggering. Unfortunately, poise doesn't seem to work as it did in the previous games. Bamco say it's working as intended. What it seems to be is that you will get hit staggered no matter how heavy your armour is, unless you're past a certain point in your attack, is as I understand it. So we'll be dressing for fashion souls, not combat souls. Oh, and we have our kickback rather than Dark Souls 2's rather anemic shoulder barge. And here's our second Estus flask. This one does our blue bar. Backstabs are still in. This guy's the backstab tutor. Enemies that are asleep are still in. Now, this thing has a weapon art as well, I believe. Hang on, let's put it back on. Yeah, so theoretically, if you can use its weapon art, and you won't be interrupted when you get attacked when you cast a miracle. We can give that a go. So let's give that a go. Yeah, obviously you've got to. Looks like you've got to trigger your miracle more or less instantly after doing that. So maybe need a bit of practice on that. Or it's probably going to be a lot easier to do kind of if I've got a weapon art shield rather than a parrying shield. Around the right of the tutorial area, you have the obligatory really dangerous enemy. So we're just going to nick the treasure and leave the enemy. Just another soul item. And if we just have a look at this, you'll see it looks rather similar to a crystal lizard. And that's because that's exactly what it is. Crystal lizards in this game have got nasty. Once we've cleared out this little area, it's around here, past the innumerable gravestones. Beautiful view, gorgeous view ahead. And our first bonfire. Gives us our first emote. You get emotes from lots of different sources here, as well as just talking to NPCs. Some you learn from summons, some you just learn. So this guy's a parry tutor, and as in the tradition of Joel's Souls game, he's got an almost unparriable attack pattern. Unfortunately, parries work more like they do in Dark Souls 1, that you can riposte immediately rather than having to wait for them to go through their stagger animation. Obviously, because this is a spear, we can attack whilst keeping our weapon up, that ever so annoying trick that enemies like to do. And these guys can sometimes drop. Yes, there it is. There's a cleric's sacred chime, just in case you wanted a different one. This one, it's very weak, as you can see from the spell buff effect, but it's got a minor self-heal power. And if we go down here and make this jump, which we haven't, we'll have to come round again. That's a Titanite shard. Here is the plunging attack tutor. And we can practice our plunging attacks here. Not here. Here. Try and get it. The lock-on in this game is bad. It often unlocks, even for just something as simple as a... That's our shield splitter art in play. But yeah, the unlock will often unlock just because an enemy actually got up or moved slightly. It's more annoying for spellcasters, obviously. In my wizard run, the number of times I just ended up screaming at the screen, you know, about the lock-on was probably beyond amusing. So there's our Titanite shard, and we're gonna go to the first boss. Now, unlike other Souls games, you are actually expected to beat the first boss on your first go. This isn't one. This isn't one where you die and then move on to the game proper. Do pay attention to that gup coming out of his back. Then he stands up. This is the first sign of how the bosses have changed from Dark Souls from the previous games. They're a lot more dynamic. This guy will use his like shoulder barge you. He's got a grab attack. He also appears to actually have a dead angle right there, sort of area. I think that was him attempting the grab attack. Throw attack, and about halfway through the boss fight, that happens. And yeah, the first time I saw it, I was seriously taken by surprise, but fortunately, his firebomb is vulnerable. Obviously, if you can't get him with the fire bombs, your next go will be much harder. And he is beatable without the fire bombs. It's just that Faces is a lot easier with them. And actually, I think we've got some other fire bombs as well. So let's get rid of the black ones. We need to. Oh no, we didn't pick up the other ones. Let's go back and pick up the other fire bombs. Somehow I missed them. Yeah, I dropped down, killed the dirt guys, and didn't get the fire bombs. So yeah, you do have a second source of fire bombs if you didn't bring them with you as your burial gift. These are ordinary ones, though, rather than fire-based ones, rather than black fire bombs. And you notice we've now got a fire effect on our clothing. This is the equivalent of regaining your humanity, becoming embered. We also got, as a result of that fight, we got in our key items the coiled sword, which is the bonfire sword. Sadly, it's not a weapon at this point in the game. This is the final walk up to the Firelink shrine in this broken straight sword. It's there, Firelink shrine, as seen in the intros. There's quite a few items to be found just rooting around here, and quite a few enemies as well. And yes, enemies use Estus because of course they do. leave those two guys alone. Because they do like their volumetric lighting here, in case you haven't noticed. And here's the dog. And there's, you see the lock-on doing what it does best, which is unlocking on. And a dog falling off a cliff. I quite like the look of the dogs in this. Like is an odd word. But it's interesting that they've made them desiccated rather than gooey, like the previous Dark Souls dogs. Embers are like humanity or human effigies from Dark Souls 2, in that you pop one and it insta-heals you and re-embers you. This guy, let's go around the corner so you can see him. This guy up here is a katana master and is quite tough. At this stage in the game, the easiest way to beat him is really just getting him to attack off a cliff. He drops his katana and his rags. And that shield is, if you've already got a decent shield with your start, it's not worth it. But it might possibly be the best shield you're going to get, at least at this stage in the game, depending on what class you started with. And we come into Firelink. But before we quickly do our last loot pickup. So up to the right you've got, I just have to get in, you've got this thing which will, after a while, drop a Cedar for Giant, which you use to turn enemies against invaders. You've got this tower which you need a key that costs 20,000 souls to open. And that leads to a few plot related things. You've got a ladder, a roof ladder, which will lead to the birds. Theoretically, you can do some sort of glitchy jump off this tree route to at least bypass part of the tower, at least get you to the birds early. But, yeah, I'm not going to waste time trying to do that. Another homeward bone. And as we come down into Firelink Shrine, you've got the thrones. Notice one of them is occupied. We'll go and talk to him in a moment. We have the Firekeeper Lady. Hello, Firekeeper Lady.
Welcome to the bonfire, unkindled one. I am a firekeeper. I tend to the flame, and tend to thee. The lords have left their thrones, and must be delivered to them. To this end, I am at thy side. Ashen One, to be unkindled is to be a vessel for souls. Sovereignless souls will become thy strength. I'll show thee how. Ashen One, bring ye souls plucked from their vessels. Ashen Ones,
So, she is our level up lady, which is a shame they brought that back, and she does a few plot related things, especially later in the game, but overall she doesn't often have anything new to say, which is a shame. I certainly think that for the more permanent residents of the shrine, her, this guy up here, and a couple of the crestfallen dude over there, and some other people, it would be nice if they had things to say as you progress through the game. You know, after every boss, or to let you know when NPCs have moved in or out of the shrine. It would act as a sort of quest journal without being blatantly obvious about it.
Very well.
But anyway, let's level up.
Then touch the darkness within me. Take nourishment from these sovereignless souls.
And she says a little prayer as you're doing your levelling up. Now, levelling up is incredibly expensive in this. Stats-wise, you've got health, spell slots, and FP points. Vitality is your equipment load stat. Strength, dexterity, intelligence, faith, and luck is item discovery and something the effectiveness of your bleed and so on attacks, and some weapon types scale off it. There's a way to make your weapon scale off your luck and some other stats that we'll get into. But for now we're going to do endurance up 1, we're going to do dexterity up, and health never hurts.
Farewell, Ash.
If we just embed the coiled sword in this. No idea where we got it from. This lights up. This lights up the main bonfire of the game. Fast travel is in immediately, though pretty much all the areas are linked, so you could do a walkthrough of them if you wanted to. Spell attunement, our storage box. This is the equivalent of upgrading your Estus flask.
Ah, another one roused from the sleep of death. Well, you're not alone. We unkindled are worthless. Can't even die right. Gives me conniptions. And they'd have us seek the Lords of Cinder and return them to their moulding thrones. But we're talking true legends with the metal to link the fire. We're not fit to lick their boots. Don't you think?
So yeah, this guy is this game's crestfallen warrior. He does have a name, which we'll discover later. Talking of thrones, Yorm the Giant. You recognise these names from the intro. Watchers of the Abyss. This one isn't in the intro. We'll get to him nearer the end of the game. And this guy actually is in his throne. He hasn't abandoned them.
All that unkindled, and a seeker of lords. I am Ludleth of Corland. Look not in bewilderment as I say. I linked the fire long ago, becoming the Lord of Cinder. If substantiation be thy want, set thine eyes upon my charred corpse. This sad cadaver, no need to be coy. Have a closer look. Knowest thou of our purpose? 5 thrones will take 5 lords as kindling for the linking of the fire. The fast-fading flame must be linked to preserve this world. A reenactment of the first linking of the fire. So it is, I became a Lord of Cinder. I may be but small, but I will die a Colossus.
So yeah, so basically this guy is implied to be someone a chosen undead who took the Link the Fire ending in one of the previous games. Possibly Dark Souls 2, given that he's got a throne and, that he's on a throne, he counts himself as a king and so on. Because as we all know, Dark Souls 2 was the quest for a comfy chair. Let's just fall off. The other thing he does in the game is he will turn your boss souls into spells, weapons and rings. So let's talk a bit about the lore. So this is far many cycles on from Dark Souls 1, which in my headcanon is the first cycle after Gwyn first linked the flame. Dark Souls 1 is the very next cycle. I mean, it's hundreds, thousands of years have passed since the first linking of the flame, but it's the first cycle. This is the last cycle. And, you know, that's why the world's in an even worse state than it normally is in a Souls game. So anyway, continuing our exploration of a Firelink Shrine. You'll notice a couple of old friends down here. First of all, we have this lady.
To make thine acquaintance, Ashen One. I am but a humble handmaid of the shrine. Weapons, armor, trinkets, and spells. I've lots of little things to ease the burden of a weary traveller. And yes, I'm undead too, but not so charitable as to give my goods away. Ashen One, fetch souls and bring them to me. As is thy wont? No?
So what she does is, she's obviously a merchant. You can sell right off the bat.
Ashen One, if my wares are not to thy satisfaction, bring me umbral ash. With ash, I'll fashion new wares. Is it not our sorry fate to sup on death?
And yeah, you unlock more items in her shop as you go through the game by finding these items called ashes offer something, and so, you know, like paladin's ashes, mortician's ashes, and each one you give to her, she unlocks more items. Right now, her shop's fairly basic. She's got some embers, some powders, the white soapstone, so we're just going to buy that. The key to the tower, some basic spells, a torch, that's a decent enough purchase as well. And might as well just fill up the rest on arrows because we'll need them later.
Ashen One.
Now, soul memory isn't a thing. Instead, matchmaking is done on, I believe, on a combination of your soul level and the highest upgraded weapon you've ever made. Not the highest one you own, the highest one you've made. Also, you can't drop a weapon for someone that's higher quality than they've made themselves. So if the best weapon I've made myself is a +1, somebody can't come into my world and drop a +9 or +10. And here is Andre. Yes, that Andre.
Well, a newcomer, I see. I am Andre. I serve at this shrine as a humble smith, forging weapons. You're in search of the Lords of Cinder, I trust. A toilsome journey, I wager. You require good arms. Let me smith you weapons. I am a smith. Such is my purpose.
Well, we don't actually have any choices about who smiths our weapons. It's him or no one. Andre of Astora, the only man in Dark Souls with something approaching lip sync. He also does other things. He will let you swap the balance of your Estus flasks between blue flasks and orange flasks. He increases the number of Estus flasks you have when you find the item to do that. He repairs, which I have not had a problem with item durability at all during the game. He does the infusions. This case, the infusion system is more like the one with demons, in that you can also do infusions of non-magical infusions as well as elemental ones. And these ones adjust to scaling. For instance, this balances it between strength and dex. This just gets rid of it but increases your base damage and so on.
Weapons and protection are sturdy enough by and large.
And he gives you the talk about
but
how
when
everything
overused,
works.
They'll eventually break. When their durability is low, repair becomes a necessity. Use a powder, or simply rest at a bonfire. But should chance impel them break, bring them me. I'll hammer them back into shape. They take no pleasure in breaking, I assure ye. So handle them with care, if you would. There are 2 ways to smith weapons. Simple reinforcement is one, and infusion the other. Reinforcement is straightforward. It strengthens a weapon without altering its property. Infusion is a more advanced form of smithing that infuses an element. Reinforcement requires titanite, and infusion requires gems. Bring the stones, and I'll do the smithing. It's my purpose, after all. In battle, your weapons are your only friends. Forge them well, and they won't let you down.
And he gives you the hurrah emote.
Another matter. Infusing weapons with gems requires a special kind of coal. My humble coals won't be any use infusing more unusual gems. I know, it's an awful shame, but it's all I have. Oh, please don't give me that look. Believe it or not, I'm quite thin-skinned. Oh, by the way, if you find any Estus shards, bring them here. They can be used to reinforce either of your Estus flasks. Without those flasks, you'd want for life or focus. And they'll always stay with you. Why not treat them well?
He seems a bit too fond of inanimate objects, Andre.
Yeah,
and now he's cycling back. So that's all. That's pretty much all he has to say until near the end of the game. Again, a wasted opportunity. And to the left and the right are areas where NPCs will turn up.
Ashen predict the mark of ash will guide thee to the land of the lords. To Lothric, where the homes of the lords converge. Ashen one to
So that's just telling you what to do, which is sit at the bonfire and use the travel option. And off we go, first zone.